There was a morning when the dinosaurs woke up like it was just another day. The sun rose over endless forests. Pterosaurs glided on warm air. The Tyrannosaurus rex shook the night's dew from its skin and tasted the wind for prey. None of them knew that above the blue sky, a rock the size of a city was already aimed at their hearts. In a few hours, the air would turn to fire, the oceans would climb the land, forests that had stood for millions of years would vanish in one single afternoon, and the last roar of the last dinosaur would be swallowed by silence. This is not just the story of their end, it's the story of the single most terrifying day in Earth's history. A day that had to happen for us to exist. Welcome to the final day of the dinosaurs. Let's go back to the moment before the sky broke. It is 66 million years ago. The age of dinosaurs has ruled the Earth for over 150 million years. The planet is warm, alive, and full of giants. On a broad coastal plain, not far from what will one day be called the Yucatan Peninsula, the sun is just beginning to rise. Mist curls over shallow lagoons. In the distance, waves roll in from a quiet ancient ocean. A herd of hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs, moves slowly through the morning fog. Their calls are deep and resonant, echoing like ancient horns between the trees. Nearby, triceratops graze in small groups, tearing ferns and low plants from the ground with powerful beaks. Their horns catch the first light of day, glowing faintly like polished bone. Predators are awake too. A young Tyrannosaurus rex stalks the edge of the forest, half in shadow, half in sun. Its footsteps are heavy but careful. Its eyes are sharp, intelligent, and patient. To these animals, this is just another morning, another day to hunt, to eat, to survive. None of them sense that, high above, beyond the clouds, far beyond even the air itself, their last sunrise has already begun to count down. While the dinosaurs move through their routines, the real story of this day begins far from Earth. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, a piece of rock about 10 kilometers wide races through space. It is not angry, it is not evil. It is just a leftover, a fragment from the birth of the solar system, drawn from the asteroid belt by a gradual, invisible tug of gravity. For millions of years, it has traveled in silence, cold and indifferent. But today, its orbit and Earth's orbit will cross at exactly the same time. The bullet has already been fired, the target is already locked, and down below, Earth turns peacefully under white clouds and calm seas, completely unaware that everything is about to change. As the rock approaches, Earth's gravity reaches out and pulls it in. It speeds up, faster, faster still. By the time it nears the top of the atmosphere, it is moving at more than 70,000 kilometers per hour. The dinosaurs are still feeding. The forests are still singing with insects and birds. The world is still whole. In a few minutes, it will not be. Mid-morning, the sun climbs higher. The day warms. In the forest's inland, small raptors move like shadows between tree trunks. A group of dromaeosaurs, light, feathered predators, distant cousins of birds, track a wounded herbivore by scent. Over the rivers, dragonflies with wings the size of a hand skim the surface of the water. Turtles bask on muddy banks. Crocodile-like reptiles wait, still as stone, eyes just above the surface. Tiny mammals, no bigger than rats, scurry through the leaf litter. They live in fear of claws, jaws, and talons. Their entire strategy is simple: stay hidden, stay small, move at night. Today, this timid strategy will save their descendants. Out at sea, the water is calm and blue. Huge marine reptiles glide through the depths. Schools of fish flicker like living mirrors beneath the waves. Above the ocean, the invisible rock continues its silent dive toward the planet. The distance shrinks. Minutes remain. Late morning becomes early noon. The light grows harsh and bright. Animals pause to rest in the shade of cycads and conifers. Wind rustles through the leaves. Then, somewhere over the horizon, something new appears in the sky. At first, it is just a point, a star that should not be there, burning in the wrong place in the wrong way. It grows brighter. Birds, Primitive ones with teeth and clawed wings fall silent. The hadrosaurs lift their heads. Their calls stutter, confused. The sky itself seems to tense. The rock has now entered the upper atmosphere. The air in front of it is compressed so violently that it heats to thousands of degrees. The asteroid's surface glows white-hot. A blazing tail stretches behind it, a wound torn in the sky, visible for hundreds, even thousands of kilometers. Somewhere on that coastal plain, a young dinosaur looks up for the very first time and sees the last thing its species will ever see. The world has seconds left before impact. It is approximately 12 noon, local time. The asteroid slams into shallow tropical sea near what will one day be called Chicxulub, Mexico. In a single instant, everything normal about Earth is erased. The rock hits the water so fast that the ocean does not have time to move out of the way. It behaves like solid stone. The asteroid punches through it, through the seafloor, deep into the crust of the planet. The energy released is beyond imagination, more than 100 million megatons of TNT. A shockwave races outward at speeds faster than sound can travel through rock. The crust buckles like thin metal. Mountains of water rise where there was once a calm sea. In less than a heartbeat, a crater roughly 180 kilometers wide yawns open, a wound blasted into the Earth's surface. Rock, water, and air all vaporize in the blast. A column of fire and debris shoots up through the atmosphere, punching straight through the sky, hurling molten Earth into space. For animals within hundreds of kilometers, the end is instant. They never even see the fire coming. One moment, a triceratops stands in a clearing, chewing soft leaves. The next, a wall of heat and pressure tears the flesh from its bones before its nervous system can even feel pain. The dinosaur's final day has reached its first brutal peak. But the worst is not the impact itself. The worst is everything that comes after. The shockwave races out from the crater, flattening everything in its path. Forests are ripped from the ground. Trees do not fall. They disintegrate. Animals are thrown through the air like leaves in a hurricane of fire. Bones snap. Organs rupture. The air itself is now a weapon. Above the impact site, the column of vaporized rock and water reaches high into space. At its edges, molten glass, tiny droplets of earth turned liquid, rains back down. In the minutes after the impact, the sky over half the planet begins to glow. These droplets re-enter the atmosphere, heating the air as they streak through it. It is as if billions of shooting stars have been unleashed, all at once, in every direction. The upper atmosphere becomes an oven. The heat radiates downward. Across continents, even far from the crater, leaves shrivel on branches. Dry grass bursts into flame. Small animals are cooked alive in the open. Wildfires ignite not in one place, but everywhere at the same time. The dinosaurs do not know what an asteroid is. They do not know what hit them. All they feel is a world that suddenly wants them dead. Within an hour of impact, vast regions of Earth's surface are burning. The forests that had stretched endlessly across prehistoric continents have become a continuous sea of flame. The sky turns from blue to white from the radiant heat to a dirty, furious orange. Ash and smoke swirl in the upper winds. The first effects hit the coastal dinosaurs closest to the impact. Some are killed by the shockwave. Others drown in the tsunamis now racing outward, walls of water hundreds of meters high, racing across entire oceans, smashing into distant shores with the force of 1,000 storms. Inland, far from the immediate blast, dinosaurs still run. They flee from fires, from ground that will not stop shaking, from heat that seems to come from every direction. A Tyrannosaurus chases nothing now. It runs without understanding, driven only by a deep animal terror. Behind it, trees explode, their sap turned instantly to steam. The air is thick, hard to breathe. Ash begins to fall like black snow. This is still the first hour. The day has not even ended yet. But for many dinosaurs, it already has. While fire consumes the land, the oceans rise in rage. The impact has displaced unimaginable volumes of water. Waves ripple outward, colliding, combining, amplifying. In deeper seas, ancient marine reptiles, massive predators that once ruled the water, are tossed like driftwood. Coral reefs that took millions of years to grow are pulverized in seconds. As the mega tsunami approaches distant coastlines, the water first disappears. Beaches suddenly stretch for kilometers. Fish flop helplessly on wet sand. Curious dinosaurs wander across the newly exposed seabed, sniffing at shells and stranded creatures, confused by this strange, retreating ocean. Then, the horizon rises. A wall of water, taller than forests, roars inward with the entire weight of the sea behind it. There is no running, no hiding, no high ground tall enough. Forests, swamps, beaches, everything along the shoreline is scraped clean. Animals are crushed under rolling trees and boulders, buried in thick slurry, dragged back out into the drowning deep. The dinosaurs' final day is not just a day of fire. It is a day where land and ocean both turn against them. As the hours pass, the first fury of the impact slowly begins to fade. The shock waves weaken. The biggest tsunamis crash against distant continents and finally lose their strength. The first wildfires burn out where there's nothing left to burn. But a second, slower disaster has already begun. Millions of tons of ash, dust, and vaporized rock are now suspended in the atmosphere. They spread around the globe, carried by powerful winds high above the earth. The afternoon sun dims. In some places, it disappears entirely behind a curtain of ash. Animals that survived the initial blast now find themselves in a world that feels like an eclipse that will not end. The temperature drops, shadows grow. Carnivores stumble over fallen logs, roaring in confusion. Herbivores stand in open clearings, sides heaving, mouths open as soot and heat irritate their lungs. Rivers run black with ash. The smell of burned earth and rotting flesh fills the air. The final day of the dinosaurs is now sinking into a long, choking twilight. And yet, even inside this apocalypse, not all life is doomed. In underground burrows, small mammals huddle together. Their homes are deep enough that the worst of the heat passes over them. Their bodies are tiny, their needs are small. They eat seeds, insects, roots, things that can still be found in hidden corners when the forests above are gone. In lakes and rivers, some fish and amphibians survive in deeper, cooler waters. Insects hide under bark, in the cracks of stones, in the soil. Some birds, those small enough, adaptable enough, take shelter in crevices and caves, riding out the first terrible day. These creatures do not know that they are survivors. They are only trying to live through the next hour, the next breath. But one day, their descendants will inherit a world without giant reptiles, and from them, the story of life will be rewritten. Eventually, the final daylight of the dinosaurs' era begins to fade. But this sunset is not a beautiful one. The sky is clogged with ash and smoke, heavy and bruised, lit from below by the glow of burning continents. This is a night without stars. A night where the moon is just a faint smear behind a veil of dust. Somewhere, in a valley far from the impact, a wounded Tyrannosaurus staggers among blackened trees. The ground is still warm beneath its feet. The air tastes of metal and ash. It is not eaten. Many of the plant eaters it once hunted are gone, burned, drowned, crushed. The predator, once the apex of its world, is now just another animal swallowed by a disaster too big to fight. It lifts its head and roars, a sound that once commanded fear and respect. Tonight, the roar vanishes into a sky that does not answer. There might have been a moment, somewhere, with some lone dinosaur, some last survivor on that first ruined night, when the very last true dinosaur voice echoed across a dead forest. A final call, unanswered, fading into the new silence of a changed world. No one marked the moment, no one carved it into stone. But somewhere, the age of dinosaurs ended with that sound. When the next day begins, it does not look like a new day. The sky is still dark. Sunlight is scattered by the thick layer of particles still suspended high above the earth. What reaches the surface now is weak and cold. Temperatures plummet. Photosynthesis, the process plants use to turn light into life, slows, then stops. Leaves, already burned or damaged, fall. Forests that survived the fires now begin to starve. Herbivorous dinosaurs, if any remain, find less and less to eat. Their massive bodies require enormous amounts of food, but the world is not built for them anymore. Their size, once their strength, becomes their weakness. For months, years, the planet stays in a kind of impact winter. Volcanic eruptions add more dust and gases to the sky. Acid rain falls in places, ecosystems unravel. Chains of life, built over tens of millions of years, snap one by one. The dinosaur's final day is over, but its consequences echo forward for a long time. They are not all killed in a single 24-hour period. Many linger for years. But that day, the day the rock hit the Earth, is the day their world lost its future. Slowly, over thousands and then millions of years, the dust settles. New plants grow. New forests rise where old ones burned. The crater at Chicxulub erodes, sinks, hides beneath the sea. The bones of dinosaurs are buried under layers of mud and ash, pressed by time into stone. The world that was once full of thunderous footsteps and shaking ground becomes quiet. No more herds of triceratops pounding across the plains. No more shadows of gigantic sauropods sweeping across the ground. No more Tyrannosaurus waiting in the dark at the edge of a forest. But this silence is not the end of life. It is the pause between one chapter and the next. The small creatures that survived, those mammals huddled in burrows, those birds that tucked themselves away, those tiny, overlooked lives, begin to spread into the empty spaces. With the giants gone, there is room to grow, to change, to experiment. New forms appear, new predators, new herbivores, new ways of moving, thinking, living. The age of dinosaurs is over. The age of mammals has begun. 66 million years after that final day, on the same planet, in the shadow of those same buried craters and ancient coastlines, another creature walks the earth. It is small compared to a dinosaur, fragile, no scales, no horns, no tail. But it carries something new, a mind that can remember what it never saw. Us. Humans dig into layers of rock and find bones turned to stone. We map craters hidden under jungles and oceans. We study thin lines of clay that circle the globe, a global fingerprint left by that impact day, rich in elements brought by the asteroid. We recreate the last day of the dinosaurs from these clues, like detectives reconstructing a crime scene that happened before any human was born. And when we do, we realize something extraordinary. If that rock had missed, the dinosaurs might still be here. The forests might still shake with their steps. The plains might still belong to them. Mammals might never have had the chance to rise. No apes, no humans, no one to ask. What happened on the dinosaurs' final day? Our entire existence is tied to their ending. Our first chapter begins on the same page where theirs closes. That last day was chaos, fire, shockwaves, tsunamis, darkness, cold, a planet screaming and then falling quiet. To the dinosaurs, it was pure catastrophe. To life as a whole, it was something else, a brutal, violent turning of the page. The dinosaurs did not choose their ending. They did not deserve it. But from their extinction came the space for something new, for us, sitting here now, telling their story. When we look at fossils, when we imagine that final sunrise, we are not just looking at death. We are looking at the moment the universe quietly rearranged itself. So one day, on a small blue world, a thinking creature could look up at the sky and wonder, how did it all begin? And what had to end so I could be here? The dinosaur's final day is not just a story about destruction. It is a reminder that life does not give up. It changes, it adapts, it finds new shapes, new minds, new dreams. One day, something might end our own chapter too. But as long as we are here, we can remember. We can learn from the worlds that came before us, and we can honor them by telling their stories clearly, honestly, and with the awe they deserve. If you feel that the memories of worlds long gone shouldn't fade into silence, stay with us. Because here, every fossil becomes a voice, every lost world becomes a story. And the day the dinosaurs died becomes the day we began to understand why we're here.